Hey everybody, welcome to Lighthouse Learning. And today I'm going to tell you how to take notes for physics and revise before exam. This is the ultimate strategy. Most of the people, like most students, are not able to perform well. Like their preparation and the marks they obtain in physics is not proportional. So here is a one-stop solution for all your problems. So let's get started. The first one is writing and listing down the formula sheets. So what I would tell you is take an A4 sheet when you start off with a lesson after you're clear with every concept. What you do, take an A4 sheet, divide it into three columns, and then you number and write down the formula. For example, if you're starting off with the current electricity chapter, start off with the basic formula, okay? And along with the formula used, mention the meaning of the variable which is used. For example, in V is equal to IR, what is V? Is it the potential? Is it the potential difference? Is it the potential difference across the conductor? So be specific in every variable which you're using. All right. So here I have attached my formula sheet of work, energy and power lesson. Actually what I do is I include the concepts which are involved in every formula as well. Like my formula sheet consists of formula and the few concepts involved in it. Like I learned by definition, so I have included. Again, it's your choice. All right, but for the purpose of cracking NEET exam, formula sheet itself is more than enough. And also, don't forget to revise it in every day, like in a daily basis. Writing alone is not important. You should be revising it every day. Yes, let's move on to the next step, which is sums sheet. So many a times, what happens is we come across a lot of entirely different and new patterns in physics. In physics, we have a multitude of questions which are of totally different pattern. So how do I remember it and how do I write it in the exam? So for that, you should do this sum sheet. So what you do, take an A4 sheet again, divide into three columns, write the question in short and the formula to be used, the formula involved in that question. So for example, usually some conceptual and complicated questions will be involving 2 to 3 formula, right? So what you do, just list them in order. Don't be solving it, like don't substitute the values and all unless it is required. If you find a different way of solving, again include it. All right, whatever new thing you find, you just include in the sum sheet. All right. So if you find any new conceptual question, for example, if this concept was not covered in your formula sheet, include that in your sum sheet. All right. So having done both of these, formula sheet and sum sheet, you should be revising both of these every day, like at least once or twice. Try revising it at least per week. You should be able to cover the whole class 11 formulae. Okay. So let me just move on to the next step, which is maintaining a mistake notebook. So always, very important thing is always you should keep track of your mistakes, because in physics mistakes keep on recurring, because once you do a careless mistake, you just tend to keep on doing that. So what you do after you complete a mock test, give any mock test, again how much ever time it consumes, don't worry about that, but rather come and analyze the paper, check what careless mistakes you have done in that, and don't forget to write it down in a notebook or a diary. All right. So yes, I maintain a diary. And what I did was, like, whatever mistake, like sometimes what I do is I just read the question very fastly and in a hasty manner, and end up substituting the wrong value. So don't do that. Even if you do such mistakes, just write it down in the mistake diary. All right. So here I've attached a I attached my mistake diary, like few pages of my diary. You can just have a look through it. All right. So maybe it'll just give you an idea. That's why I just thought I'll attach it. All right. So the next step of mine is solving previous year paper. What happens is, usually need there are a multitude of questions which are being repeated every year. So previous year questions are like must, like only after you're thorough with the previous year questions you should move on to any other book. Okay, don't be in a hurry to complete many books, rather limit your books and be thorough in the books which you have solved. Okay, so previous year questions, what happens is, mm, highlight those questions which you're not able to solve in the first attempt, like when you're starting the first time after completing a lesson. Let's suppose you're starting to solve the previous year problem, chapter wise problem. So what you do, those questions which you're not able to solve in the first attempt, like, you're not able to grasp the concept, then what you do, highlight those questions with a highlighter. And so that again after you complete everything, again review those highlighted questions. All right, so this is the technique which I did. And always, what I would suggest is, like, for previous year questions, what you do is you just write down the formulae beside the question itself. That would help you beside the question. But what happens is, when you're revising, you'll look at, so what you do, you just take a separate paper and write down the question in short, just the formula involved, the concept which you were not able to grasp. Just write that in a separate paper and attach it in the book itself. Because if you put a separate notebook, what actually happens is, at many times we don't review it. Otherwise, if you had written in a paper like this, like if you had a formula sheet, you had a sum sheet, you had the mistake diary, and the previous year questions written in a paper. So before exam, what you can do is review through the formula sheet very quickly, and then go through the sum sheet. Then just give a quick glance of the mistake notebook, and finally the highlighted questions of the previous year paper. If you're done with these four simple steps, I'm sure that you'll definitely crack. NEET physics is really easy to crack. All right, so that's it for today, and hope this video was very useful to you. And if you have any comments, do drop it in the comment box.